All right, here we go. Welcome to your best bets. We have the Walking Wounded here tonight of the panel, and I'll talk about that in a second. But we're here to talk about the U.S. Open, a great U.S. Open from this past weekend. Talk about the updates on the LIV Tour, another couple more defections today, and we'll preview the Travelers Championship, which is really traditionally a really good regular PGA Tour stop. Really a tournament that's kind of made its way the last 5-6 years into being a really good event. So as I mentioned before, the Walking Wounded, including Zach Lear, off of some nasal surgery, first time back since I think we did a show in February about kind of fitness and golf and how it all relates. So good to have you back, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Like I said before we started, this is the first time I've been able to fully breathe through my nose for probably 5 years. And so I got all kinds of energy here going forward. So
that's great to hear. Breathing is something you would take for granted. So I'm glad you've got that feeling back. Zach Fitzgerald is back. He wasn't on with us last week. Zach's been fighting a back injury, so that's what he's dealing with. Zach, how are you?
We are getting better. Still struggling a little bit to sit, but luckily the golf game is available again, which has kind of brought the sanity level kind of back to a minimum of insanity. So other than, the sitting issues, everything really is kind of seeming good. Looking forward to playing Brookwood this weekend, actually.
Nice. You're in the field. Good to hear you're back and playing. You are filming this from your car for anyone that's going to be watching this on our YouTube channel. It looks pretty comfortable though, at least right now. Go ahead, Zach.
You got the heated seat on in there?
I do not, but Jeeps have pretty comfortable seats to begin with, so no complaints. I feel comfortable. Lounge back. It's pretty comfortable.
Good.
And I was mentioning to these guys that before we went live that I dislocated my right pinky finger 9 days ago playing baseball with my son, and never barehanded baseball, even for kids that don't pitch very fast, just not a good idea. So back in place, feeling better. I could grip a golf club. So, but yeah, we're definitely the Walking Wounded here. And but let's talk about the U.S. Open, guys. Matt Fitzpatrick wins his first PGA Tour tournament, but also first major, obviously. Been a stalwart on the European Tour for a few years. I guess a guy that I've always thought of like a poor man's Jordan Spieth in a way for the last few years, but he's really reformed his game quite a bit this year until this win. He's played really well on tour this year. And it culminated in a Sunday where he hit 17 of 18 greens. He really didn't miss a shot, which is, I guess I never thought a couple of years ago we'd be talking about this guy being such a good ball striker, but made a bunch of clutch swings down the stretch, and including one of the best shots you'll see on the 72nd hole. Fitzgerald, what were your thoughts on Matt Fitzpatrick?
I feel like I've been a Matthew Fitzpatrick defender on the show, so vindication for sure. Aside from that, I think the Spieth comparison is a really, really good one. Aside from the fact that I think he drives the ball significantly better than what Spieth does. Probably doesn't putt it overall as well as Spieth does when Spieth is putting well. But I think that comparison's fair. Watching him on Sunday, I really thought that it was nice to see a guy that, I guarantee we're not the only people that have doubted him. And, I think I was talking about the fact that he's basically graphed every shot he's hit over the past 7 years, including practice rounds, every round. And that shows a level of commitment that, in my mind kind of deserves to be rewarded. So I was glad to see it. And, to see Rory come up to him and say something like, put the work in, you deserve it. I thought that was really, really nice to see.
Yeah, from all accounts, it sounds like this guy's worked his butt off for the last 3 or 4 years, that he found what the weaknesses were in his game, and he really attacked them. And and Zach Lear, the gains he's made driving the golf ball, as Fitzgerald mentioned. I'm just gonna have to call you guys by last names because it's just too much. But
The Zach attacks.
yeah, the Zach attacks. But I mean, it really paid off on Sunday, going head to head with paired with Will Zalatoris, who's one of the best drivers on tour. Sorry, Zach Fitzgerald, but it's true. But he was consistently ahead of him, and that makes a difference in sort of a mano a mano situation, don't you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, anytime you're a less of a club going in on a regular basis on a day that all pressure is there, I mean, it just makes you feel better. And if you feel better, you feel more relaxed. You feel more relaxed, you make better swings. I mean, I think it just goes hand in hand.
I read, I was reading a couple of things from writers I follow on Twitter, and one mentioned the 2016 Ryder Cup in Hazeltine when the U.S. just took the Euros to the woodshed. That was Fitzpatrick was on that team, and he was completely lost the whole week. Even the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits this last fall, I can't remember Fitzpatrick doing anything. So he's made a ton of strides just the last couple of months. He is now top 10 in the world. And Fitzgerald's right. He does defend him a lot on the show. We talk about him being a good bet for top 10, top 20, but when it comes to winning, there was just this, I haven't seen it yet. And so I was impressed. What about the shot on the 72nd hole? Fitzgerald, was that as good as advertised, or were you like, okay, really good shot, but I mean, I don't know. Was it everything people built it up to be, like this kind of 1 in 50 shot?
I mean, I had trouble seeing how steep the angle was. And from TV, I think, Augusta shows that you can't really exactly tell how steep it was. So I'm going to have to take their word for it. It was obviously an incredible shot. Certainly in the situation, it was world-class shot. But if it is what they were saying, where, basically he had to cut it, 15, 20 yards around that, and then hit it to 15 feet. Yeah, it's a world-class shot, and, one of the greats on 18 to win a major. So, I'm not going to say it's necessarily kind of right up there in the lore with Bubba at Augusta, but, great shot for sure. It was, when he hit that ball, he hit it so clean and it came out so high that I instantly knew it was good. I mean, I don't even think that you could just tell from his body reaction and the way that it came out of the sand that was struck perfectly. So yeah, it was a great shot.
Lear, the fact that he won, I think we heard this about 50 times on the weekend from NBC, that he won the 2013 U.S. Amateur at the same golf course at the country club. Is there something to just being comfortable on a certain course and you have good memories if you played well there before? Is there just something to that?
I mean, it would be kind of like a home court advantage. I mean, what's everything you're saying about him is he hasn't won yet. He hasn't done it yet. And the only place he has, or not the only place, but he won that big event. So you've done it. You've been there. You've seen it. It becomes replicatable. I feel like in your mind, you're not looking at that. God, I hope I can get it done here on this place I don't play well. You're like, I've done it here before. I just need to go out and execute the shots I need to take. And if I do that, I can win. And so it's a different confidence. And it goes along with being 10, 15, 20 yards ahead of your partner or the group, when you're looking back at them and they're looking at you with an 8-iron and you got a wedge. Fitzgerald, you're a much better player than I am in that sense. Like, don't you feel more confident? Like, I'm like, I got to hit this 155 yards. You're hitting 130 yards. I mean, it just makes you feel better. So I feel like those two things just really set him up for a good weekend.
The Fitzgerald, the Will Zalatoris factor. We know your feelings for him. going back a couple podcasts that you said you don't get it. Do you still feel that way, or is this guy, to me, he's one of the best players in the world right now? He just hasn't won. Back-to-back runners-up in majors. I feel like he had this one right on the tips of his fingers and he kind of let it slip away. Were you impressed with him more, or were you kind of like, that's kind of what I thought. That's how I felt. I felt about him that way for a reason.
I don't want this to be misconstrued that I don't think he's a great golfer. He's a PGA Tour golfer. He's amazing. I was unbelievably impressed with his golf game. So I went back and was looking at the past 3 majors this entire year, and really top 10 should be quite easy to figure out because it's been, a mixture of Scheffler, Fitzpatrick, Zalatoris, Thomas, and Rory. Those 5 guys have almost been in the top 10 I think actually they may have been in the top 10 aside from maybe Thomas and just the previous one. But he's impressive. And the thing with him is I just think that there are guys, like I said last time, that are going to come out and beat him. And that's exactly what happened. And I have no room to talk. I'm not a good putter, but he just doesn't quite make enough putts. He hits the ball as well as anybody. I mean, really as well as anybody, 100%.
Yeah.
But I just think there's always going to be somebody that's going to, not always, he's going to win a major. I have no doubt of that. But there's going to come a point a lot of the time where I just think somebody's going to make more putts than him.
Well, statistically in majors so far this year, he's been a very good putter. He puts better in majors than regular tour events for whatever reason. I just think, to me, he's like the new Brooks Koepka when Brooks had it figured out a couple of years ago how to elevate his game in majors. I think his game is just more well suited for difficult setups. It really brings his game to the top, it seems. And we've talked about how hard it is to win in certain tournaments on the PGA Tour where you guys maybe deserve to win and they don't. And then a couple months ago, Spieth won the Heritage when maybe he didn't have statistically his best game, but he still somehow won. I just feel like Zalatoris has been a little unlucky. He was unlucky at the PGA and this tournament where most of those times it might go his way, but I'm still optimistic. I still feel really good about him winning an event soon, whether it's a major or not. But Lear, what do you think about Willie Z? Is he one of your guys? Because I fully adopted him as one of my guys I root for.
I mean, he's really hard to bet against placing. I thought this week he looked bigger and stronger. Like when he competed in the Masters, it looked like a kid, right? I mean, he looked like a kid that was out there playing and I thought he carried Sunday a little bit more of a swagger to him and just seemed a little. I didn't look at him like, man, that's that young kid that's out there playing. I just looked at that guy's a PGA Tour golfer and he's got a chance to win today. And so, I mean, I like him. I mean, I think he's fun. He just again, sometimes you just got to get that win. And once you get the win, it can all change from there.
I had a bet on him to win, so I was obviously rooting for him. I'm just going to simply auto bet him to win every major going forward. I'll probably bet him for the Open at St. Andrews, even though I don't think it's necessarily a great fit, but I'll probably do it blindly anyways. What else from the Open as far as the U.S. Open, as far as anyone else? Scheffler just continues to get in the mix pretty much every tournament. Rory was ultimately disappointing for me. I said last week's show, I put the largest bet I've ever put on any player in any tournament on Rory this week, and he teased us. And Fitzgerald, what were your impressions on any of those guys?
Morikawa was an absolute disappointment. Should have won that tournament by 4 shots.
Yeah, third round.
Horrid Saturday.
Round. Yeah,
just horrid. I would say that aside from Fitzpatrick winning, the coolest thing I saw was the love that Keegan Bradley was getting from the Boston fans. And the Boston fans are kind of notorious for loving their own. And I just thought that was I thought that was pretty cool. A guy that, obviously a major champion, a guy that has been playing well recently. I mean, you can't say he's been playing bad, but certainly hasn't been a star over, let's say, the last 6 or 7 years. But to get the love that he got, I thought that was really, really cool. And then, when he finished out the last hole, the applause he got and the love he was giving to the crowd, I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a good moment. And Keegan gets some shit sometimes for being slow, kind of annoying to watch. I've said that. I did put him in my best bets last week, top 10 plus 600, so I hit that one though. What else from you, Lear? Anything else?
Scheffler is just a bad man. I like him. He's really. I do a lot of work with Wyatt, and him and Wyatt used to play against each other all the time. So I've gotten to hear some neat stories about how competitive they used to be and that kind of stuff. But my big goal for myself this summer is all about mental attitude on the course. And I think he is the prime example of that. What was it? The first hole, he hits a great ball and he's in divot. And it just doesn't even look like it's a fun lie. And he just kind of smiled about it, walked up, and he threw it to like 10 feet or less and makes the putt. And you're like, huh. And he just happily hands his club to the caddy and on they go. And so for me, that's something I'm watching with these guys a lot this year, is just how do they manage their mental side of the game. Physical stuff for me comes easy. It's the mental side I think I struggle with the most. So I'm fascinated with him right now because he just never really looks to lose his cool and just plays.
It's a great point. And he comes out and he does everything you need to do at the start of the round Sunday to get into contention, being a couple shots back. It's what I was hoping I'd see from Rory, which was like 3 birdies in the first 5 holes. But Scheffler just continues to put himself in position, and we know you can't get it done every time, but just being there, I think is really meaningful, because we know if you put yourself there enough times, you're going to come out on the right end of the stick, which he has certainly this year. I did mention
probably the best year since Tiger's great years. Like, even if he doesn't win again, I can't. Maybe Spieth. Maybe Spieth in 2015
was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Maybe Spieth in 15, but I think Scheffler has more wins than he does already right now. Spieth had the 2 majors, but or was it only? I don't remember. If it was 1 or 2 majors. That year, but
yeah,
just pretty.
It's up there.
Pretty crazy year he's had. And I mean, if you think about it, we're really only halfway through the calendar year. If we're going by calendar year.
Yeah, he's arguably the best player in the world right now. I mean, the number 1 ranking on him is a good fit, and he's kind of fun to watch. He's got that awkward swing, and just gets it done. And so it's fun. It's fun to me because you see that it doesn't have to be the perfect swing to get it done. It's just a swing that fits him, that he can execute, and that alone gets it done for him. And it's not trying to be this picture perfect swing. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like watching him play golf.
We can't all swing like you, Zach.
I know.
He has a better swing than me. It's not even close.
Well, what's he, 6? He's got to be 6'2", 6'3".
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. I mean, that's unfair. You can't teach that stuff. I mean, normally when you're talking like basketball at 6'6", 6'8", but even at 6, which makes what Matt did so incredible. At 5'9", he's smashing the ball.
He's Fitzgerald size. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 5'9", he's smashing the ball. So what I see, he went 181, 185, I think was the high he had ball speed. I mean, that's cooking.
Let's transition right into that. There's been so much focus and distance in the game the last, I guess, 3-4 years. I mean, it's always been a focus, and really since Tiger came to the picture, it's obviously was helpful to his career being, if not the longest, one of the longest. Obviously, as his career went on, he found out different ways to get it done. I guess at the end of 2019, when Bryson started bulking up and really focusing on becoming going from an above average hitter to one of the longest hitters and maybe the longest on tour outside of maybe Cameron Champ. So that came into full focus. He got it done in 2020 winning the US Open at Winged Foot. It sort of validated his goals and his focus, which was I'm going to hit it past everyone. I don't care if I'm hitting it in the rough. I'm just going to chop it out. I'm going to have more birdie chances, all this stuff. So I remember at the time Fitzpatrick came out and was pretty critical of Bryson and the focus on distance in the game. He made some comments at the end of 2020, but he obviously took it and, took some of what was happening to heart, because he really went to work. And he started working on it specifically from what I've read, the middle of 2021, even up until now. And that's working with the stack system, these speed sticks. So I was looking at his numbers. He was swinging at 112 miles per hour in 2019, which was around 120th on tour, about a 288-yard average. That was outside the top 150 in distance on tour. Now, 3 years later, his swing speed's up about 4.5 miles per hour. It's not like he's the longest, but he's in the top 70 now. And he's hitting 325-yard drives 15% of the time. I mean, those are huge gains. And I know both you guys know, numbers on TrackMan and so forth. Picking up a mile per hour on your club head speed or your ball speed especially ball speed is huge. And it really matters a lot. I'm interested in both your takes on the focus on distance the last couple of years. And I know Fitzgerald, you and I talked a little bit with Callahan when he came on, and, talks about some of the kids that he's teaching chasing distance, but there's got to be a focus on accuracy. Where's the fine line? So Fitzgerald, I'm interested in your take on it, what Fitzpatrick did, and maybe is that something that you've tried to look at in your own game as well?
I think what he did obviously helped him. And at the pro level, I think, it's getting to a point where you almost have to hit the ball farther. Are we ever going to see a Zach Johnson win a major again by not going for any par fives and two? I just don't know that we may ever see that again. For me personally, no, I don't think my body can take it. So I'm just going to continue to try to hit greens and maybe make a couple more putts, and sometimes that's good enough, sometimes it's not.
But by the way, I played with Fitzgerald. He's a good putter. I mean, I don't know why he's downplaying it like he's out there like Keegan Bradley.
Talk to any person I play in tournaments with, I'll tell you I don't make putts.
I
But
think we may need to send you to Dr. Bob to have that to have some discussions on that mental thing. We could talk more about that, but I feel like the physical side of things, Zach, I could help you with more. But maybe Dr. Bob needs to get inside that head with that putter. So
we just need to hit greens and fairways.
yeah.
But I will say that I fought against the distance thing for the longest time, and I kind of thought that it was going to be a gimmick for a while, but the guys that are chasing distance are now starting to catch up in accuracy too. We got, Roy Ransberg, who hits the ball an absolute mile, but also is unbelievably accurate. So, I think he's won every Fort Wayne Golf Association tournament so far this year. I haven't seen if he was playing Brookwood yet, but I can only assume he will. He won City there last year. So, I would assume that, certainly one of the favorites there. So, he's kind of proving that even at the amateur and, local tour level, that distance is, a premium now. When you play with him, and I don't hit the ball far, but I certainly am not short. He's still 50 yards farther than I am on a lot of drives. And, his ability to cut corners on par fives where, that's not available for most people is a major advantage. So, I think we're just seeing the progression of what Tiger started, 26 years ago. And it's finally, when it first started, everybody was just swinging out of their shoes. And I don't think that, there was a lot of, accuracy with it. But I think what these guys are doing now is they're getting up to their max speed and then they're bringing it back 4 or 5 miles an hour. And, their 80% is now, 110% of what they previously were. And with 80%, you can have accuracy. So, yeah, I think it's huge. I hate to say it, but it's huge.
Well, there's a bunch of ways we go with this, but the TrackMan digital readout stuff that we can get allows you to jump out of your shoes in a more structured way, right? So, he got that GC quad in his house, so I've seen him stand under the tree at Cobblestone and just hit balls, and he does it in such a repetitive motion that you can increase speed because you're building that memory and you're building that repetitive thing. And so there is some good about that, but I feel like, Bryson did some really good stuff about showing that speed can win and you can get that. But, if you drive, I always refer to the human body as the Ferrari. Okay. Like you're a Ferrari. Some people may act like Pintos, but the body's pretty complicated and pretty impressive thing. So really you're more like a Ferrari. It's just how we take care of ourselves. But I don't care if you have a Pinto or a Ferrari, if you drive it at red line, eventually it's going to blow up. Okay. And so that's where Bryson got to. So the difference between Bryson and Tiger, because Tiger kind of blew up, right? He's got all these injuries. He did heavy bench, heavy squats, heavy traditional workout, and then was so strong that he could create a lot of torque and power. Bryson found some golf specific ways to go crazy, but they both kind of pushed the red line, right? And that's why I think you're seeing Bryson now is injured, has been injured, and he operates constantly at that red line. Okay. And he dials it down a little bit, but even in his training, I mean, he put on like 40 pounds, like astronomical, right? When 10 pounds and some strength would have done it. Right. But instead he puts on 40 pounds and he's trying to go for 200 miles of ball speed, or, and so it's like he redlined it. And that's why I think you see him hurt. And then you got Fitzpatrick over here who kind of went about it in a calculated way. I mean, this isn't a 2-3 month or a winter project for him. This has been a almost 3 years. Like I said, in the last 2 years, kind of to go off what you said, he went from 165 mile an hour ball speed to 185 mile an hour ball speed. It's a 2-year process, right? And so, I mean, the stack system, I've never used it. I've read about it and I've watched it, and I know Bickler, a local guy, uses it for his stuff. But he's doing more than just the stack system, and he's putting that face, like Zach would say, he makes such good contact with the ball. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, that to me is really the important part.
That's what I was going to
By
ask
the stack
you.
system, are we talking about the 3 different color sticks?
No, that's a speed stick system. So a stack system is a little bit, and they've got a 6 or 7 minute video that explains this way better than what I would. Speed sticks are a form of high speed training. Okay. So you've got 3 differently weighted clubs. And the goal is, just as a level 1 entry into this, is you swing as fast as you can with your swinging right. You flip to the left and you swing as fast as you can 3 times. And then you go to the blue and then you do the same there. And then you go to the red and then you go back to the green. And that high intensity builds speed. It teaches the body that you can operate at a faster speed. But in a sense, it's kind of like a red line. You're pushing your red line up. You're pushing your red line up. The stack system, to my knowledge, has it's a digital piece of equipment. And so it's responding and working off of a structured program. Like it's telling you to swing faster or to hit this speed and to do these things. And so from there, you're not necessarily redlining. Okay. You're building. And that's where, like, again, I'm not a huge fan. I like speed sticks in the sense of, I had a guy that came to me the other day and his club head speed was down like 6 or 7 miles an hour, actually 8. And he's like, I can't figure it out. I'm swinging slower. Well, then he started telling me about all the thoughts he was thinking about in his swing and all this stuff. And I was like, well, one, That's way too many things to think about when you swing. And two, your body has forgot how to swing fast. Take this thing, run through this protocol real quick. And so his first swing with the green was like 72. By the time we got back to the green, he was at 94. Now he didn't gain 20 miles an hour of speed. His mind shut off and let his body operate at what he is capable of doing. Does that make sense? And so there is a place, I think, for some speed training equipment, but it's not the end all be all. Like most people that come to me and like, I want to get faster. I bought a set of speed sticks and I was like, have fun till you get hurt. Okay. Because you can't push your body one way without expecting it to eventually break down. Okay. Most people that come to me that want to get speed, I'd rather like see what their body's capable of doing and then increase what their body's capable of doing. Half the time, the person that comes to me with the speed stick and is like, I want to swing faster, can't even lift their arm straight up, like, so to get into what we call an external position, right? So there's no way they can even maintain the turn because once they get to where their arm has to be up, they stand up and then we make this whole move to get back down. So we're doing all kinds of shit to create speed when if they would just swing slow and make better contact, they'd probably hit it just as far. So that guy, I want to free his body up to make a tighter turn. And if he can make a tighter turn, he can produce more speed and never have to swing a speed stick. Does that make sense? And that's where I think the TPI stuff really comes into play. And that's like you're taking these excellent golfers and showing them some weaknesses in their body and they eliminate the weakness in their body. It frees them up. Now they've just got 4 or 5 miles an hour of additional speed with never having to do that kind of stuff.
So the stack system, Lear, is you're okay with it, but you also prefer some, which is kind of what we talked about in the February episode, working with your body and kind of making it more applicable to your golf swing as far as fitness and things of that nature.
Yeah. All that stuff, speed sticks, orange whip, all that stuff is just a small tool in the arsenal to me, right? I guarantee you that Fitzpatrick is not only doing the stack system. Like he's working with somebody. He's not pushing the envelope or trying to see if he can squat 500 pounds, but he is definitely working with his body to make sure that his body moves productively. And then he takes the stack system and now I can charge this. I can go after it with the stacks because I'm not really operating at the end of my range, right? Like Zach would be able to say, anytime I want to swing harder, well, I usually do something to make that swing happen. And that's not necessarily what we need to do in our swing, right? Then now I'm a cutter of the ball. The harder I swing, the harder left I go, the more the face opens up and the slappier my shot gets, right? So what if I gain 6 miles an hour of speed? Does that really help me? Probably makes me worse because I'm swinging faster with shittier form.
Or puts more spin on it, or things like
that.
I mean, I'm with you on Fitzpatrick. I obviously he hasn't pushed the limit with the stuff physically like you mentioned Bryson did, and now we're seeing Bryson has really broken down quite a bit, multiple injuries, especially with the wrist. I think he's had back stuff the last year. But yeah, physically, you haven't really heard about what Fitzpatrick's doing. You're just hearing about all the stuff with the speed tools and so forth. I guess the stack system's what, $350. It's on back order right now. It's the hot item.
Well, and Mackenzie Hughes or Mackenzie, I forget the name of the guy who created the stack system.
I got it. I got it. I just had it. Sasha McKenzie.
Yeah. So he's made a buttload of money.
I bet he has. Yeah.
And so, and they're not going to go, I don't care who his fitness trainer is, or if he even has one, or if Sasha McKenzie is his fitness trainer, the product coming from a fitness trainer, the product sells easier than the trainer. It's easier to spend $350 one time versus $350 a month or sometimes, you know what I mean? When you go with these personalized sessions or things like that, especially with what these I'm sure the PGA Tour guys are spending a buttload of money on their bodies most of them, right? Maybe not Harry Higgins or some of those guys, but John Daly. It's all relative to the situation. But I like I said, I guarantee you, he's doing something different, something to improve his body. And the stack system is the weapon of choice to take it to the another level. Does that make sense?
Yes. Fitzgerald, any final thoughts on that?
No, other than
You faded into the darkness completely.
He did. Turn your light on.
yeah, well, if I turn my light on, then the car might it's really not any better. I'm just you can't see the shirt, so we'll keep it on. But yeah, so
In a mystery.
I don't have anything different other than obviously work for Fitzpatrick. It's worked for DeChambeau, although he did win prior to that. And I think with Bryson, he would have continued to win and would have been one of the best players in the world without. But we'll never know. But on the distance stuff, it's obviously important. What Zach does certainly helps people's golf games, undoubtedly. So it's something that probably everybody at some point should look at. And as you get older, I can tell you personally, it's getting harder to physically stay competent for the entire season. And probably by my doing, honestly.
That's where I think the conversation needs to shift a little bit to. You've got to hit the ball farther. Okay. Maybe not on the local level, but you're going to have to find a way to get the ball 300 plus. Okay. I mean, or at least close, right? Like there's no doubt about that. But where real strength and fitness and an understanding of your body comes into is, when's the last time you had 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the sand trap? When you're in that position, you can't really use your lower body. So you have to be able to kind of, okay, I can lock my lower body in here and still make the torso turn that I need to make. Okay. And a lot of people can't do that. They get in there and they can't get the ball's 2 feet below their feet. And so you can't get themselves in that position. Your body breaks down over a time frame. And so what like Fitzpatrick's doing, and a lot of the guys is they're taking better care of their bodies, because the PGA Tour is now basically all year. What do they take, like 3 weeks off, and they got the turnaround season or whatever? Mm-hmm. And I think, not to go too into the LIV yet, but you're looking at these guys thinking, man, I'm going to be able to make more money. I'm only going to have to play 5 events. I'm going to make money. I can play less, right? I don't have to play every single weekend. And right now you've got to play every single weekend to really make a living, unless you're some of these bigger names who are winning more or have the endorsements. I won't go too crazy, but that's why Rory drives me crazy, because I feel like he's talking from a level above everybody else, because he doesn't need the money anymore, right? And I know he's the PGA rep and tour rep and all that stuff, but he's criticizing some of these guys for chasing money when you already have all the money that you want. Now, irrelevant to what where all the money to me, and that is so much that it's all dirty. It's all coming from stuff you said earlier in this, that the commercials on Saturday or Saturday were ridiculous. So you don't think people were making money there? They were making hand over fist. They're not giving that out the way that they're getting it in on any level. So I'm sorry to diverge, but like, all right.
Well, hey, we're going to get there. So let's move in that direction. So it came out today that our Brooks Koepka, not a well-kept secret, and based on what his press conference looked like last week at the US Open, you kind of felt like it was headed this direction. But he, sources say he's committed to the LIV event next week in Portland. Abraham Answer also defected today as well. I don't know. And I said this last week with Johnny in Belleville that, I don't know what domino it's going to be where I go, oh, crap, the tour's in trouble. And I said, it's probably not Brooks, but if you look at it on his face, you've got Brooks, Bryson, DJ, Patrick Reed, 4 guys that are all major champions, all still in the prime of their careers, not necessarily any of them playing great golf, but those are 4 big names that have left the tour. I didn't have a huge reaction to the Brooks news today, but it's still happening, and you still don't know. I think it's also the unknown of who else may go. You know, Morikawa's been rumored. Victor Hovland's been rumored. Is it a Morikawa away from like, oh shit, the tour is really in trouble? Fitzgerald, I know we've talked about it quite a bit. Belleville and I kind of went head to head last week a little bit on, you know, he understood some of these guys, which I see his point. I see his point on a guy like Chase Koepka, who, you know, can't even make starts. So of course he's going to take the money versus a guy like DJ, who's got over $100 million in the bank, or, you know, allegedly. I guess Paulina might be spending his money, but that's a guy I didn't quite understand. So where do you lie as we sit here today with 2 more key guys from the tour going to LIV?
I love the fact that there's a LIV tour. It's more golf. I don't understand why anybody dislikes this aside from the PGA Tour. And in all honesty, the PGA Tour has no right to dislike this. From what I understand, we're not allowed to create monopolies in the United States. And for some reason, they're acting as though they have a monopoly over the golf game in the United States. And that's ridiculous to me. These guys should be able to go and make their money however they want. And nobody should be speaking on another man's money. There's no reason for it in my mind. I don't understand it whatsoever. If these guys want to go and get paid $150 million to go play there, that's fine. If the other guys don't, that's fine. But nobody needs to be saying words about it. There's no reason for it. I mean, I understand they're public figures and they get asked their opinion, but like Rory, he's been having all these comments with like vitriol in them, and Justin Thomas has been saying that, and you know, they're all making this, you know, out to be them against Greg Norman, and I don't understand it. I don't understand why, if we're trying to grow the game of golf, why we're trying to squash something that could grow the game of golf. And you name 4 names. I can name Oosthuizen, Bubba Watson, Charles Schwartzel. I can name numerous other players that are all good golfers. Numerous people from the European Tour that if you watch the European Tour, they are popular over there. So the tour, it's not like there's a bunch of guys that nobody knows. Now, I don't think the PGA Tour is in trouble under any circumstance. I don't think that the PGA Tour is ever going to be in trouble. Hopefully, what will happen is we will have 2 alternatives of watching golf, and we can watch both of them, and it will be good golf both ways. And then when the majors comes together, maybe we'll have a little competitive juices between the PGA Tour guys and the LIV guys. And for me, I don't see how more golf that will help the game throughout the world is bad.
You know, I wasn't sure where you were going to go, on which side you were going to be, but I agree with him wholeheartedly on this. I mean, I think where'd the PGA just get $50 million to do 8 more events, no cut, exactly like this, as a competitive, you know what I mean? Like, so all the things that Phil and these guys were saying, per se, is kind of true. Give them their money. I mean, now we're also talking about a bunch of millionaires whining about this. So I'm also not too upset about it, but I'm good, Zach. I'm on Zach's side.
I see the point, although I don't necessarily agree that more golf is better. I want to see the best players in the world together playing more events like we just saw this last weekend. I don't want to have to stream YouTube and find these events and then also pay attention to PGA Tour event. Number one, because I just think I'm not a fan of the format. When I watched Charles win a couple weeks ago, a little bit, I was like, oh my God, it just felt like a dead exhibition. Maybe it'll be different as it grows. I don't know. What I saw last weekend made me think that the majors will have more legs now than anything. If this is going to continue down this road with some people playing LIV, some people playing the PGA Tour, I just think now the majors have even more weight because that's truly going to be the time where the best players get together. Now, the other huge domino to fall, and we were talking about before we went live, is are these LIV events going to get world golf ranking points? Because if they don't, that's a huge factor with these guys trying to qualify for majors. Of course, some have exemptions like DJ for a couple of years into these majors. But if they don't hand out world golf ranking points to the LIV events, then that's something substantial for guys to consider if they want to leave the tour and risk not playing in the majors, because that's obviously the huge career benchmarks for that all these guys play for, besides the money, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the majors is what was holding multiple people back from defecting immediately to the LIV. You can't offer people this much money to play golf, less golf, make more money, put less wear on their bodies, be able to see their families more, be able to pick their destinations, and expect them not to do it. It doesn't logically make sense to say no to that. And people, and I'm probably going to make myself look terrible to a group of people here, but morally, I don't care where the money comes from. I'm not a moralist. Like Zach said earlier, I believe pretty much all money in the world is dirty, truthfully. So I don't see any reason not to take that money.
Well, to kind of piggyback off what you said, I mean, there's Nike swooshes all over Rory and these players, and China has just as many human rights violations and just as bad of people per se as what they're trying to make out the other side, the Saudi side, to be, right? So it's almost hypocritical again to tell me that you're so much better. They're almost like criminalizing these guys for just wanting to go make money playing a sport that they love. I do it because I love it, not because of the money.
When the only logical truth is that they're scared that their accomplishments going forward are going to be looked as less because those players are no longer in the tournaments. And that's the only thing that can possibly be bothering them that's actually logical. Everything else is just pettiness. They're going to be making their money still. They're still going to be making their money on their tour. No reason to squash another tour. It just makes no sense to me. None.
How about you, Phil? What do you think?
Well, I made my opinion known. If anyone's been listening, I just think it's bad for the game of golf as a fan, because again, I just see things getting more divided as the weeks go on here, and there's just so many things that I don't like about it. I get the guys going and why they're going. Brooks Koepka probably got wired $125 million today. It would be hard to say no to that. I get it. I just think the golf fan will suffer because the best players in the world are going to be all over the place, and I want to see them together. And that's my main focus, really. And I know there's been a lot to come out about the PGA Tour. What are some of the, and Mickelson exposed some of that in all maybe the wrong ways in the fall and the winter, talking about the PGA Tour hoarding all this money. And well, maybe some of the money's coming out. We talked about where the $50 million come from, that they have this idea to create an eight event series for the top 50 players, which, by the way, is Jay Monahan's rebuttal to, I guess, it's kind of sort of piggybacking off the LIV idea, right? Like,
you're still putting the money in the same people's hands, the same 50 people. I mean, like if they said, oh, that's cool, and it's open up to all these other people to try to get that money, I would be more apt. I mean, like, I don't know what the,
well, it's a way to keep the stars. That's who they're focusing on, right?
I get it, but
I mean, it is a direct copycat, and it is showing you that the LIV Tour is, and just in my opinion, great for golf because competition breeds improvement. And the PGA Tour is never going to change and adapt and get better if they're the only show in town. Now, all of a sudden, somebody is offering the players more money, better situation for themselves, more home time, more everything. Now, all of a sudden, the PGA Tour wants a couple people more jump now, are basically exactly parroting what they're doing and then trying to say that they're not. And to me, it just absolutely everything Norman and Phil have said about the PGA Tour. And I love the PGA Tour still. I mean, I will watch it. I have no issue with it whatsoever, but they're being hypocritical about this entire situation.
So I got a question. Yeah, because you're talking about watching the best players in the world. How the PGA Tour now plays every weekend, almost all year. How many of those events really have the top 10 players in the world in them? I mean, most
Okay.
of those events are 2 to 3 stars and then a filtration of a bunch of guys trying to get better, right?
I'm glad
So
you brought that up though, because I have said there's too many events. There's too many events. I think there needs to be some consolidation of. I think there's got to be more of an off season. The wraparound season. I mean, I'll watch it. I like golf. I bet on golf. It's fun, but I don't think there has to be a full fall season, the wraparound. I really think I liked it when the tour started in Kapalua in January. I like the off season. So I think there needs to be less events, more off weeks, and more of a focus on taking care of the events that really matter.
Yeah.
That's my thought. But I know why the tour did it. Again, sponsorship. It's all money, the whole thing. On some of what Fitzgerald said, yeah, I think Jay Monahan has handled a lot of things really poorly with this, and from the tour standpoint, I agree with that for sure. But I think that's my main thought was there needs to be less events throughout the year, and people will start caring because I mean, outside of a few hardcore golf fans, not a lot of people care about the Rocket Mortgage up in Detroit.
right. They just turn it on. It's background
I mean,
noise. I
unless
think
you're a hardo, then yeah, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see what Detroit golf clothes looks like this weekend.
yeah.
I mean, we had a whole show on the worst events on the PGA Tour, and
That was your idea.
it was, and I mean, it's true. There's too many.
I
It's
give
just
Fitzgerald the keys one time, and he comes up with the worst events on tour idea.
well, I mean, it's just like any other sport where NFL expansion, NHL expansion, NBA expansion, it creates a watered down league. And I'm not saying that it's not good for the sport because more money, more profit sharing, more revenue is always good for the sport, but it does create a more watered down league. So, this wraparound thing has created a bunch of tournaments where there aren't guys that everybody wants to watch. Well, the LIV Tour, smaller events, less events, people are going to be more excited about it, which is also going to give the opportunity for more people to come up and play on the PGA Tour and create more stars. So for me, this is not just good for the guys on the LIV or the top guys on the PGA Tour, but this is giving an opportunity for guys that would not get an opportunity to come in and play. And maybe one of those guys is let's just take it from a totally apples to oranges perspective, but maybe one of those guys would be the sixth round pick of the Patriots and end up being Tom Brady of golf. And I'm just saying, like, there's got to be somebody that never got a shot that could have ended up being something. And more golf creates more opportunities.
He's like, no, it doesn't.
No,
It also creates more watered down, but I get it.
I get it, but I get your point, but I just think LIV ain't it. I just don't think it's gonna. I mean, it's gonna be around because they're funneling billions of dollars into it, so it's not going anywhere. I just don't think it's it. I just don't think there's anything that's there that's competitive. I mean, I think there's an argument that these LIV guys, when they come back and play majors, that they could be worse. I think this might make them worse players.
Could be, but like the difference with golf than a lot of other sports to me, the Detroit Lions are going to suck. Okay. They may have a year or two where they're good, but there's a head office, there's a coaching staff, there's players, there's all the Gatorade guys, all these people that require that the Detroit Lions to be good, right? Golf's different. Golf is like, you're telling me that if there was a PGA Tour event around or a LIV event around and Rory was going to play in it, Ransburg, you wouldn't show up and go watch him? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went and watched City because I knew he was going to smash the ball and watch Heath Peters and Rory play. And that's our local level, right? So sure. It's different. It's different than watching a crappy basketball team play the Warriors, okay? I mean, that's not fun. That's watered down. Just to watch them play 20 times a year, to me, is boring. But the golf ball changes every day.
Sure. But I feel like it's an exhibition at this point. They're playing. They've already made their money. They're of course they're playing for more money, but there's like the U.S. Open. There's history to it. The PGA Championship. There's
That's
major,
a
but
major.
but not even the major. Some of these like winning at Riviera, it's not the LA Open, but basically winning at Pebble, history. There's some meaning to it, and I just think it's kind of soulless at this point on LIV. That's why I make the point of it being an exhibition, because there's no prestige or anything. They've already made their cash and they're out there just swinging the club, hitting golf shots, but I don't see anything yet to make me want to say I care about this. Like, I'm really interested to watch.
Well, and that's the good part. That's the best part of life, is you don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, you can turn the TV on Sunday and watch the PGA Tour. Zach we can live stream for free the whole LIV thing without having to flip from Peacock to Golf Channel to ABC to all the people that got all their people that got hands in the pot. I just turned Facebook on or YouTube Live, and now I'm watching the LIV Tour, and I can stream my computer. So to be fair, I can watch both of them at the same time and not have to change the channel for the LIV. I agree with you, the history, but you can't have a history until you have a beginning, right?
Thank you.
So
thank you.
Again, I just think that my big issue is they're not criminals. Okay. The criminals are the 15 people who flew into the buildings. Okay. Not the guys playing tour. Okay. So to tell Phil Mickelson that because he went to Saudi Arabia or to overseas and is playing in a place that already has tour events in it, right? They already go over there and let him play and let him do things. To say that they're terrible people and they're almost making them out to be criticism, and you're writing them a letter talking about how they, like, to me, that's next level selfishness in a sense. Like, and again, I don't want people to think that I don't think that was terrible stuff. Obviously, my grandfather passed away the day before. Okay. So I've always thought it was a special thing that he didn't have to be alive to witness that. Okay. And it's a memory for me to do that. He passed away without having to know that that's the terrible stuff that's in the society. But to me, to say that this golf tour and Phil Mickelson now supports that is a really tough pill to swallow. Okay. And so I just think that they're not criminals. Defected. They're not criminals. They're just guys trying to feed their families and live in really big houses.
I think that, you were talking about the history aspect, and I'm kind of with Lear on this, that, and I've always looked at, when people are, let's take basketball or football, for example, free agency, people are always talking about they want to go to the teams that wants to, they want to go to the winners, be able to win championships. But, every team at some point that's been in the doldrums has had to have some guy that said, I want to be the guy that brings this team out of this. And then that guy becomes a legend and loved forever. And yes, everybody is chasing all these things on the PGA Tour, but on the LIV Tour, they have the ability to create things, and they could be, on the Mount Rushmore of LIV. And to you, Phil, I understand that that's not important to you, but we can't look into the future 10, 20 years and see where we're going to be. And, 10, 20 years down the road, we may be saying that the PGA Tour has become the second-rate tour in the world, and the LIV has become number one. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but, it is completely possible. So these guys are taking a chance, but, you got to take chances. And I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world. I just don't. And I know I've been kind of passionate about that, but it's the first time I've gotten to talk to everybody about it. And it really, the whole hypocrisy of the PGA Tour has kind of been bothering
me. I definitely see your points and respect your opinions. To me right now, LIV is like the USFL from the 80s. That's my best comparison at this point. It might grow to be something bigger, better, and I'll be interested to see if the PGA Tour recognize that and they decide to work with them instead of against them. And it it might come to that point. The European Tour, we're waiting on what they're going to say. Keith Pelly, the CEO there, he's yet to say anything. Are they going to decide to work in alliance with LIV?
Because they're going to get bought out by LIV. But
that's a huge domino. Yeah, I think you might see the PGA Tour purchase the DP World Tour or LIV purchase them. I think that might be the next step in this.
I kind of love what you said, though. I think them splitting and going some different directions and them coming back and having to do the majors, like I just don't think that if LIV sticks around for a year or two and really has some grip and the people go, they're going to have to, because the European Tour is already saying they haven't said anything real static, but they're not fining or kicking their players off the tour if they play in the event. They're letting them play both. Okay, so they'll have a push for them to have world rankings so that they can be competitive and all that stuff, right? So I think that the majors are just going to become even more Phil's back or Brooks is back. And once this dies down, like to me, if Rory's comment about I got one more than Greg Norman or whatever was ridiculous. Like just play. I know he's the player's rep. Okay, just go out and play. That's why I didn't like Brooks for a long time, because when he came out, I was like, oh, the only time you ever see me golf is when I'm playing in these events. That's it. Other than that, it doesn't mean much to me. Now, if you notice, once he said that, he's had a pretty sharp decline down, right? I don't care if that's how you think, but you are a role model at times for people. And so for you to go and kind of disrespect hard work and ethic like that, it's a slap in the face. And I feel like that, in a sense, is what happened to Rory a little bit, is he got so caught up in all this other stuff and defending Justin Thomas too, defending this and making those guys look like criminals per se. They both really kind of played like crap. JT really played like crap, but Rory, when he needed to, was his mind really where it was? Fitzpatrick never said a thing, never said a word about this the whole time, and he just went out and won a tour. Did he look? He looked stone cold on Sunday. Right? I haven't heard Will's comments on any of this. Look stone cold on Sunday. Rory looked like he was kind of lost on Sunday. You know, like, where's your mind? Your mind's so busy. Better than Greg Norman. Is that really who you compare yourself to, Rory? Greg Norman? Like, I feel like you're already above him in player status. Why are you using that as justification?
That's a good question. Is he above him in player status?
Are we talking about career comparisons? Is that what you mean, Lear?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not the historian.
Yes.
That you two are, but I don't know.
It's a close match.
It would be.
It is. Norman he's an all-time underachiever, though, as far as his performance being that close in so many majors. I mean, he could have had 5, 6, 7, but
I would say Rory is just as equal and underachieving as what Norman is.
Lately, yes.
I mean,
fair point. Yes.
I mean, they've both collapsed on the back 9 of a major to lose it. I mean, it's not as far off as
probably not
what Rory wants to try to make it out to be, if that's what he's doing. So,
but Rory's got time on his side to change that. He's 32 years old, right?
I think he's a little bit more likable too. I mean, I think the shark, they called him a shark for a reason. I mean, he was that. Rory's a little bit more likable, you know. I mean, he's a really good guy. I mean, if Rory walked in the room, I sure as hell would shake his hand and be like, "Hey, I love your swing." But
I've never seen anybody wear a great white Rory shirt.
That's true. That's true.
All I know is that this podcast today, I've always liked Zach, but I'm like, I gotta spend some more time with Zach, man. I feel like we're jiving on this stuff right now. So maybe I can help that back. If you just gotta come, build it, and they will come, man.
Yeah.
Put you ahead of Rory Ransberg.
I appreciate that, but
okay. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed your little 2-on-1 fast break here on me. We're already an hour in, so we're not going to do the full preview we normally do on the Travelers. I just want you guys to tell me a couple guys you like for the week and the odds and why. Fitzgerald, who you got?
So the Travelers, I was looking, playing a par 70. I think it's playing at 6,800 yards. So, I don't necessarily think that distance is at a premium this week. So guys that I like would be Burns at plus 1,800. I like Finau at plus 4,000. I know that goes against what I was saying about distance, but I just think, Tony's been playing better, and I do think he's going to break through at some time. I like a guy like Fleetwood in this position. I like Simpson. We haven't seen Jason Day in a while, but Jason Day's been playing well when we have been seeing him. So not necessarily for a win, but, at plus 650 for a top 20. Stuart Sink, who has previously won here, has been playing well, and you can get him for plus 1,600 for top 10. And then Callahan Elsie's friend, Patrick Flavin, you can get him at plus 3,500 for a top 10 and plus 1,200 for a top 20. So those are just some names that I was looking at when I was going through the list. I think Thomas is a good pick here too, plus 1,000, but those aren't necessarily odds I like, but Thomas is fiery right now. And when he's fiery, he tends to win.
Okay, Lear, who you like this week?
I mean, I'm nowhere near as skilled at this betting as Zach is, but I kind of like Aaron Weiss. I think he's a good putt. He's putting well right now. I mean, I'm a DraftKings guy, so he's like 5,000 to 1 or whatever. So I think he's got a chance. I mean, it's not like you said, it's not a long course, and so play well. He's a good iron player. I like Siwoo Kim too. I think he's just, again, it fits his kind of style. Now I got, my brother went to school with Russell Knox. And so I think he's there. He's not been playing super great right now, but I feel like, I don't know. My brother
he's won here in the past though.
That's what it was. So my brother was talking to his caddy the other day, and they're pretty fired up about this event. So I feel like he's just kind of been on the verge of breaking through, and so I got him to place top 20. That's really where that was my kind of thought for that.
I love the Russell Knox play, 200 to 1 for the win. But yeah, I like top 10, top 20. He really was playing well earlier in the season, maybe dropped off a little bit, but again, good feelings coming back to a place he's won. We talked about that earlier in the show. I appreciate the picks here. I like Spieth this week at plus 2,000, kind of a no-show last week. I think he kind of maybe re-energize himself. A place he's had good feelings at. We remember the whole bunker shot from 2017 when he won the playoff. So I like Spieth at plus 2,000. I'm going to echo what Zach said with Finau at plus 4,000. I think that's a great number on Tony this week, and his game has been really good. I like Brendan Steele, a place he's had multiple top 10s at plus 6,500. Joel Damon going back to the well, played great last week. He was in the leaderboard the whole week. His ball striking was top 5 for the week. 100 to 1 to win, plus 800 for a top 10. I like Joel as well. That's I think all I got as far. I also like Bo Hostler. Bo's been playing really well. He got in the field today. He's 150 to 1. So a couple plays. We'll put out our best bets Wednesday.
I will say that, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I love the insider information that we just got from Zach. I think that was pretty awesome. And I knew that he would get no argument from you on Russell Knox, because Russell Knox comes out of your mouth quite often. And yeah,
just like Jason Day for you.
Yeah, which is true. I mean, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, you talk about Jason Day every week, and I'm like, where is he on the leaderboard? I haven't seen him in a while.
I thought he retired.
I like to have faith in him. So, but yeah.
Hey, Zach, or Fitzgerald, who played really well last week, who was up there the whole week. It goes back to our year-long bet.
Oh man.
Hayden Buckley.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was. I saw that, and what the first day that he was like second or third on the leaderboard at one point.
Yes,
pretty early on, but yeah, I was.
Yeah,
around. I think I was at one of the high school's floating hydrants, and I looked that up. I was wet, so I was struggling to text, but I was thinking about texting you that. Like, screenshotting it and seeing how long it was going to stay relevant.
Top 15. That's a good finish for a guy like that in the U.S. Open. Zach Lear, plug Longevity Fitness. What you guys got going on? Any deals? Just go ahead. It's your space.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, it's my birthday. I turned 41 June 19th.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm running a special this month. I'm doing 10, maybe 15 free assessments. So I've had 4 filled, that's why I said I would do maybe 10 more. But I got 4 filled. So I'm doing 10 free assessments. And basically the assessment is I run you through 16 movements. I take a pretty good look at your body and I can tell you what is either hindering your swing, what is helping your swing. Can we fix that? Or do you need to play chest? But you know what I mean? So I got that. And then I just released a 6-week mobility program that we're having a lot of success with. I got it's really fun. Scottie Perry's doing it right now. David Belleville and Matt Schmidt are both on it. And so, I mean, there's probably like 15 or 20 guys that have been signed up for that. For the 6 weeks, it's $100. It's all online. Everything's linked to a video. So like you get on, you look at your workout for the day. It takes about 10 to 20 minutes. And what a lot of people are doing is sprinkling it in throughout their workout. But basically, again, I'll always say that you may come to me for golf fitness, but I'm going to improve your body's ability to move. Okay. Most people that I see are not playing professional golf. They're trying to win a local tournament. They may be playing some collegiate golf or that kind of stuff, but really to improve your body, like I back to Fitzpatrick a little bit, but to improve your body to swing a golf club, you need to be able to just squat, lift things up off the ground and that kind of stuff. And so with the mobility program, we work with some rotation, we work with the hinge, we work shoulders, hips, and one other thing, and core. So it's 3 days a week. Each day has 3 sections to it. And it's all based off around those things. So it's all about, even though it's a golf specific thing, it's really just about giving your body more capacity to move. And if you can move your body better, you can swing a golf club better, right? I mean, you don't have to sit out. You can play all year because you're not forcing your body to get into positions. Because I don't care what kind of speed you create, but if you're having to turn all the way to the end of your range, the outcome will never be the same. Okay. You'll never be able to replicate that because your body hopes to get back there as opposed to like Zach said, 80%. Okay. For speed is a big deal. Well, if I take John Rahm, now he only turned so far because of an injury, but look how short his backswing is and how much power he creates. I guarantee you he could really probably turn deeper than that, but that would mean he would have to reach farther back into the bag and then have to try harder. And when you have to try harder, results don't typically come, right? Not positive, messy results come from trying 100%, I guess. So, the mobility program and the free assessments are really what we're doing right now. Everybody's playing golf. I mean, you should be. This is golf season for most of my people. Even my collegiate athletes right now they're playing in tournaments and trying to qualify for things. So everybody's pretty busy right now. That's why I like the mobility program for a lot of people, because it's 15 minutes and it's just about improving your body.
Yes, I contacted you about it. I still have to make the purchase, but I'm planning on doing so. I'm very, I'm classic for I'm going to do that, and then I never get around to it. I think I've been talking to you about coming to see you for quite a while, so we got to connect on that for sure. So Longevity Fitness, catch them on Facebook, of course. Go to their website, check out all their great stuff. Zach and his wife, appreciate you plugging it. Zach Fitzgerald, nothing to plug, but his golf game this weekend in the Amateur Open. So root for him out of Brookwood. I will not be in the field again. Sad. I will have to play the qualifier in July to try to make the city. So that's where I'm at, unfortunately.
Me too. I'm going to Chicago for a concert this weekend. I tried to play in it, but my wife said no. I'm playing tomorrow on the Fort Wayne member guest. So that's my golf for the week.
Nice. Well,
That'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Zach Lear, Zach Fitzgerald, the Zach Show officially commencing here. Appreciate it, boys.
Thank you guys. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube channel as well. You can watch this whole wonderful podcast with Zach Fitzgerald in the Dark on our YouTube channel. Check out our picks this week for the Travelers Championship. We'll be back next week to break it all down and talk some more golf. Thanks for joining, and we will catch you next time.